So Jon Jones has decided to split up with his management company, First Round Management. And in the famous words of Nate Diaz, I'm not surprised, mother effers. My name is Rahul Jaychan. This is the Battle Camp. Thank you very much for joining me. So I saw a tweet last night from First Round Management. First Round Management is run by Abe and Malky Kawa. You can see Malky Kawa in this photo behind me, sat next to Jon Jones. And I believe that photo was taken from a press conference prior to UFC 200 when Jon Jones tested positive for PEDs and had to face the media and dance. But I might be wrong because, let's face it, Jon Jones has been involved in a number of these type of press conferences. But going back to the tweet, this is what the tweet said. After an 11-year journey as Johnny Bones' management team, First Round Management and Bones have amicably decided to part ways. We are proud of him and the work we've done. We wish him the best going forward. So personally speaking, like I said, I'm not surprised that they split up. I am a little bit taken aback by the timing of this split. But what I also want to talk about in this video is, what does this mean next for Jon Jones and the heavyweight division? So let me just kind of answer the first question that I raised. Let me tell you why I was taken aback a little bit. As the tweet states, after an 11-year journey as Johnny Bones' management team, right? So in those 11 years, things have been very, very eventful. So there's been a lot of highs, right? So Jon Jones has become, in that time, he was the youngest ever champion in UFC history. I don't know if that record still stands. Multiple successful defenses of the light heavyweight title. Just generally regarded as one of the greatest fighters that's ever lived in that time. He's managed to achieve that. But the lows, getting in trouble with the law, driving under the influence offences with anti-doping agencies. And throughout all of those highs and lows, Malky Kawa, that guy sat there in that photo, has been right by the side of Jon Jones. So I was taken aback because I felt that their relationship was quite strong and solid. And let's face it, currently Jon Jones is embroiled in the most pivotal, the most important negotiation he's ever had with the UFC. And it's also just happens to be the most public negotiation he's had with the UFC. So I felt that their relationship and just how important this moment is for Jon Jones, I didn't really think that this split would come now. The reason why I feel like they've split has a lot to do with what's happened over the last 4 or 5 days. So Dana White, during his media obligations prior to UFC 261, was asked about Jon Jones and his very public desire to fight Francis Ngannou at heavyweight, but at the right price. Was asked about that negotiation process, and Dana White said, Jon Jones asked for $30 million, and that's not going to happen. So we're looking at Derek Lewis fighting Francis Ngannou for the title. And then on Saturday, Jon Jones tweeted, I never discussed wanting 30 million with you or Hunter at Dana White. Just wondering where you heard that number. Is someone speaking with you on my behalf or ... Now, you can speculate as to what you believe Jon Jones was thinking to fill in the rest of that sentence after the word or, right? But judging by the tone of that tweet, it feels like Jon Jones even feels like that number, 30 million, isn't very realistic. And if his management team are negotiating on his behalf and kind of making it difficult for this fight to be made, I feel like that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back from Jon Jones's point of view. The reason why I'm not surprised that he's come to this decision is I don't believe that First Round Management have done a very good job for Jon Jones over the last year. I've been very vocal about this. I've made previous videos and I've discussed this in previous videos. And I honestly don't understand what Jon Jones has been doing for the last year. It baffles me. Like, I don't understand what the strategy has been for the last year. Because if you cast your minds back, after Jon Jones beat Dominic Reyes, which was in 2020, but I can't remember the month. I've got his Wikipedia page. So after Jon Jones beat Dominic Reyes in February of 2020, Jon Jones publicly started tweeting at the UFC asking for more money for his next light heavyweight title fight. Those requests were ignored or kind of turned down by the UFC. And I remember at the time, Dana White was basically using the pandemic as the reason why they can't afford to pay Jon Jones more. And at that time, Jon Jones decided, right, I'm going to retire then. I'm going to retire until the UFC learn to value me. And he relinquished his light heavyweight title. And that's why Dominic Reyes against Jan Blachowicz was made for a vacant title. And in the period between Jon Jones relinquishing his title and Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes fighting each other, Jon Jones decided, actually, no, what? No, wait, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to the UFC, but I'm coming back as a heavyweight so you guys can see just how great I am. So he went on this journey of adding mass, adding weight, adding size, adding muscle, because Jon Jones has always been quite a tall, lean, light heavyweight. And he believes in order to be competitive at heavyweight, he needs to add strength to contend with the weight and strength of other heavyweights in that division. So he went on this journey to change his body composition. And whilst all of this was unfolding, he was still publicly tweeting the UFC, talking about how they undervalue him, comparing himself to Conor McGregor, and just kind of really making his relationship with the organization that he's asking to pay him more money more and more difficult. And while all of this was happening, I was sat there thinking to myself, there's no rhyme or reason behind what you're doing. There's no logic behind this strategy. There is no strategy. Because what he effectively did is he gave the UFC back the very little leverage he had in the form of the light heavyweight title. Then he decided through his own volition that I'm moving to heavyweight without actually booking a fight at heavyweight against a heavyweight opponent. Started putting in all of this work over the last few months to change his body to be a competitive heavyweight without having a deal to compete at heavyweight. So he kind of slowly started taking away an option that he personally had to go and fight at light heavyweight by changing the composition of his body. But like I said, he didn't even have a deal to fight at heavyweight. So basically he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He was stuck between two islands. He jumped off the light heavyweight island before he secured a spot on the heavyweight island. It's almost like playing a game of cards against someone and showing them your hand. Showing them your hand and then trying to gamble with them. But they know what you've got. It made no sense to me. It still makes no sense to me. And in my opinion, it's the job of your management team to stop you from making these mistakes. And they didn't. And it seems to be a common theme with first round management fighters, because it wasn't so long ago, Jorge Masvidal was publicly tweeting the UFC and talking about how he's undervalued and how he should get paid more, and talking about the percentage that the UFC pay their fighters of their annual revenue in comparison to other sports. It surprises me a little bit because, you know, First Round Management are a prominent management company. And like I said, they have big name MMA fighters on their books. They manage, I believe, American footballers and things of that nature. And Jon Jones's career has been stalling for a year over this public negotiation. And I believe that it has been managed terribly. So the fact that Jon Jones has decided to remove first round management, like I said, I'm not surprised, mother effers. Now, what does this mean going forward? Does this mean Jon Jones is going to negotiate his own deal with the UFC? Does this mean that he's going to go over to a different management company? I don't know. Time will tell. But one thing that I will say is if Jon Jones is going to try and do this negotiation himself, Jon Jones is a very emotional character. He'll say things on Twitter and he takes things personally. And I just, like, obviously, I like I said, I'm vocal, and I've said this prior as well. Like, I believe fighters should get paid more. I understand the UFC don't pay their fighters as much as they should, but you have to be realistic in these situations, and that 30 million number was quite unrealistic in relation to what he'd probably earned in the past. So I suppose the point I'm trying to make is, will Jon Jones be able to negotiate this deal himself, given his characteristics, given his personality? One thing that I will say is, even though his, Ali Abdelaziz as a character himself, it's questionable where his morals lie. But you have to say, everyone that's managed by Ali Abdelaziz seems to be happy with the deal and the money that they're making. So will Jon Jones go over to Dominance MMA as his management team? Who knows, man? Will it be Conor McGregor's manager, Artiatar, however you say his name? There's options out there for him. It's what will he choose to do next? And the thing is, right, it's very easy. It's very easy to, be principled and have a stance and stick to your guns and negotiate with the UFC. But at the end of the day, it's the time's ticking on your career, and you only get one chance. And the longer this drags on, the older he's going to get. And what's better? Getting paid millions of dollars, but having that slight bitter taste in your mouth where you think, I should be getting more than what I'm getting here. Or getting paid nothing, but having your principles. I suppose that's what he has to weigh up. Jon Jones needs to weigh up and make a decision around and see what he feels he should get next. I mean, he does have the option of saying, you know what, okay, fine. If you're not going to pay me what I think I deserve to fight Francis Ngannou at heavyweight, I'm just going to lose all of this mass that I've put on. I'm going to go back to light heavyweight, because it's something he's done before. I remember when he was suspended for a while, he was just always lifting in the gym and he got really big and kind of bulky. So he can lose it in a few months, and he can come back and fight out light heavyweight and just fight out his career. Not his career, his contract. I don't know how many fights he's got left, but do you know what I mean? Like, he has that option. But he needs to kind of just assess what means the most to him. Achieving greatness, being a champ, showing the world just how good he is, and doing it in a heavier weight class. His principles, sticking to his guns. What is it that is going to make him happiest? And act accordingly. And I have a suspicion that this last year has been very, very, very frustrating for Jon Jones. And I believe that fighting at heavyweight for a value that he may feel is below what he should be getting, in a funny sort of way, might be the option that makes him the happiest despite the bitter taste that comes with it. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about his decision to move away from first round management? Let me know what you think about who he should go to next as his management organization. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what happens next and whether this makes it easier for him to fight Francis Ngannou at heavyweight. Before I go, I just quickly want to say I'm wearing this t-shirt, and I bought it off John Gooden. So go on his Twitter. See it here. Go on his Twitter, and I like the designs. It's got Anderson Silva on it, and some of the money goes to charity, I believe. So it's a win-win. But yeah, anyway, like this video, comment, share with a friend if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys next time.